Part 7 of Ahsoka, Dreams and Madness once again had tons of Easter eggs and references to other Star Wars stories, as well as some links to other mythologies, so today I'm gonna run through everything I found. The story begins on Coruscant at a Senate building. You can see the seal of the Galactic Senate on its front with the New Republic insignia in blue underneath. Senator Ziono calls Hera a member of the New Republic Security Force, a branch of the government first established in 1994, appearing in legend stories like The Courtship of Princess Leia and X-Wing: The Krytos Trap. Since this is a military hearing, Admiral Akbar is seated right next to the annoying senator. And of course, C-3PO makes his most prominent appearance since The Rise of Skywalker. Hera met him back in one of the earliest episodes of Star Wars Rebels. It makes sense that Leia would want to help Hera because they also met in the second season of the series. It's stated that Leia is the leader of the Defense Council, a part of the New Republic Senate that was first created in 1996 for the Black Fleet Crisis books. The holographic recording of Anakin mentions the possible enemies Ahsoka might face in the Clone Wars. I expect just about everyone watching this series knows General Grievous and Count Dooku from the prequel films, but Asajj Ventress is criminally lesser known. She was a major villain in both the Clone Wars animated series and the Now Legends micro-series. She was a Dathomirian that became a Sith apprentice to Dooku for a time until she was betrayed and returned home to the Nightsisters. Much of Anakin's recording is taken from an episode of Tales of the Jedi, where Anakin trains Ahsoka to defend herself by having clone troopers try to stun her. The exercises wound up being valuable when she had to fight those same clones to survive Order 66. The recording is also similar to one we see Ahsoka watching in Star Wars Rebels. She does mention that he made 20 different recordings, so now I guess we've seen 2 of them. He encourages Ahsoka to practice his lightsaber forms more often than he does. Obi-Wan also chides Anakin for not practicing his forms more in Attack of the Clones. The Purrgil reach Peridia in the middle of an Imperial minefield. They appear to be seeker mines that chase after any object that flies near. A similar weapon can be used in the video game Star Wars Squadrons. Ahsoka's desperate flight into the Ring of Purrgil Bones is a direct parallel to Han flying into the asteroid field in The Empire Strikes Back, but this time it's to show Thrawn's unwillingness to casually throw away the lives of his pilots. Morgan Elsbeth gives Thrawn a collection of information that the Inquisitorial database had on Ahsoka. That would be data gathered by the Inquisitors like we've seen in Star Wars Rebels, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars Jedi games, several books, and even Ahsoka with Marok. Thrawn realizes the threat Ahsoka presents when he learns that her master was Anakin Skywalker. He met Anakin back during the Clone Wars when he was still part of the Chiss Ascendancy. They shared a mission together and later worked as partners within the Empire after Anakin became Darth Vader and Thrawn joined the Imperial Navy. He was able to deduce the true identity of the Sith Lord. Sabine catches Ezra up on galactic history, saying the war ended at the Battle of Endor, which technically it ends with the Battle of Jakku, but I can see why Sabine or others would consider Endor the true victory. It was a more heroic moment for the rebellion and probably sounds better in the history hollow seeing the destruction of another Death Star as well as the deaths of Darth Vader and the Emperor, or at least supposed death, because Sabine admits that's just what people say. She wasn't there, she has no first-hand knowledge, but really I think this is a joke about how Palpatine is still out there somewhere. Zeb gets his first name drop of the series, which is great. We've seen him already in Sabine's mural on Lothal, and we also saw him as a friend of Carson Teva's in The Mandalorian Season 3. Ezra mentions Sabine's previous training that he witnessed in Star Wars Rebels, specifically where he was part of her lessons learning to wield the Darksaber. Ahsoka and Sabine communicating through the Force is obviously like what we've seen Jedi and Force users do before, like when Luke called out to Leia on Cloud City. Baylan sending Shin off on her own, claiming his path lies in another direction, is reminiscent of Obi-Wan leaving Luke on the Death Star to face Vader, even down to the similar lines. The gunships used by the Night Troopers are the same kind we saw used by the New Republic on Corellia and the Republic on Coruscant during the Clone Wars, and the Empire used them too. Everyone seems to love these ships, they never go out of style. The Nomads chasing the Noti Caravan reminds me of the Warg chase in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, which obviously isn't a Star Wars reference, but Filoni has filled this series with Tolkien inspiration. The Noti using a slingshot against a Nomad, even though it was hilariously ineffective, could be a callback to Ezra's weapon as a child being an energy slingshot. Maybe he taught the Noti to make and shoot them. Their use of other improvised weapons reminds me of even more Tolkien stuff. I've previously compared them to hobbits, but using rocks as weapons is like Merry and Pippin fighting the Uruk-hai, and using a frying pan is a very Samwise Gamgee move. I'll occasionally point out things that connect to future Star Wars content, pre-Easter eggs or Priester eggs for funsies. Ezra using a mixture of the Force and martial arts to defend the Noti reminded me of the amazing footage that was shown for the Acolyte at Star Wars Celebration. That fight choreography looked sick. Ezra using the Force to stop Shin's lightsaber blade has popped up several times in other stories, but probably most prominently in The Rise of Skywalker. I don't think this is an intentional reference, but I think Grand Admiral Thrawn would have loved playing holotactics in Pyloon's saloon in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Ezra's hilarious attempts to talk himself out of getting killed is very consistent with his portrayal in Star Wars Rebels, constantly quipping even in the face of capture or death. And that's everything I caught. Let me know what I missed in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for all our Ahsoka coverage, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page for video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.